We're back. Hey, everybody. Thank you for coming back and listening again and putting up with the first one. Hopefully things will be a little bit better and they'll get a little better every single time I record another one of these. So first I'm just gonna put it out there first. I was sick yesterday. I'm still sick today. Trying to fight through it. Dayquil did very little. So hopefully I'll be feeling a little better over the next few days. But if I sound gross at any point in time, that's going to be why. So bear with me. So interesting stuff that happened. Really, this was maybe a week ago. But my game was pirated. I noticed there was a streamer on Twitch that was playing. They had like 900 something viewers, and so I was like, oh, cool, great. That's somebody that's, got a lot of viewers playing the subject. Super cool. And I watched for a bit and noticed that, things were out of date. They were playing, it looked like they were playing like the first build, which is a telltale sign of a pirated game, right? Because like the first iteration is usually what's pirated, and you don't really get patches pirated. That doesn't really happen very often unless you're a really big game. So I had super mixed feelings about this because it's actually pretty damaging for an indie developer. Now, it's weird because I see that stuff all the time for big games, for big companies, and it's really kind of a drop in the bucket, right? Because they get millions and millions in sales, and then a couple people pirate it, and it's really nothing huge. But for me, as a solo developer, I'm making these things myself, and to see people like not even spending $10, not even spending $5, whatever, to play the game and support my work, it kind of sucks. At the same time, though, you can make the argument that that the excuse me, see, it's popping up. I'll try to keep that under control. But at the same time, you can make the argument that these people weren't going to buy the game anyway, right? Like especially in the case of a streamer, where it's a little weird that a streamer or like a YouTube content creator type, if they don't buy it and they're making money or getting viewership off of your product, it feels a little weird. But it is also exposing, like with that streamer, is exposing 900 something people to the game. Now they see the game in its worst light because it's the first iteration, where later a bunch of new things came out and a bunch of bugs were fixed, and the game is very different from when it first launched. So it kind of gives a false impression too, because the viewers don't know that they've pirated the copy. So kind of sucks there. But I was actually talking about this with another indie developer, and it's why we do DRM, right? I get people messaging me, and they've asked me on Twitch or in Discord or Twitter or whatever, saying, is there going to be a DRM-free version of this, like on, I don't know, whatever it is, GOG, or other sites? And I would like to do that, but at the same time, you're basically just opening yourself up to pirating, and it's going to happen more with that. And there's part of me that's like, well, whatever, again, these people weren't going to buy it anyway, so is it really that damaging, or am I basically just losing out on sales completely? I don't really think I am, because the subject's not super heard of. It's not, it's my first title. I'm an unknown developer, so I'm not really, I don't think I'm really losing out on much by that. Now, a few games down the line where I'm, hopefully a little bit better known, more people are buying my games, then there's kind of a question to it. So it's a weird area. I don't quite know how I feel about it yet, because I haven't experienced this before. I haven't seen someone physically playing a pirated copy of something I made, right? I found out about a pirated copy a while ago. Like I had seen it on some torrent site. Someone had linked it, and I figured the best course of action was to just not say anything, right? Because if I shed light on it and spread it, then there's going to be more people knowing about the ability to do that instead of paying, and that could be potentially bad for me. I'm really not sure. I really don't know. I have no metric to gauge this against. I mean, when I was younger, I had pirated stuff too. I mean, that's pretty common for young teenagers. I think they don't have money, but they want to be in on these things. So they get pirated copies of stuff. My first tools for making video games were illegal copies. You know, they're pirated copies of like Max 20 or, oh my God, was it even? I don't think it was 20 anything then. It was like Max 8 or something. God, I'm old. I don't know. But anyway, that to start out, there's really no other way you're going to know those tools. So it's really fine, whatever. But as you get further on in your career, you know, like I've bought everything. You get to the point where you can afford those things, and that's fine, whatever. So again, I'm really left with this this sort of mixed feeling of like they weren't going to buy it anyway. They may not have money to buy it anyway. So is it better that they're playing it and other people are seeing it? Now, this streamer was older. He obviously could have bought it. And that feels a little shitty to me, just personally. But I mean, kind of, what are you going to do? Kind of an odd thing to run into. I hadn't seen that before, so I thought it was pretty interesting, and just give my perspective on seeing something that's pirated of mine and how I perceive it. I don't necessarily see it as a complete evil, but at the same time, it really can open the door to more and more people not paying for your game that you worked hard on making. And it's a little different when it's one person who makes this stuff. You know, it feels a little bit more like stealing for an individual. When I was working at big companies and stuff, I'd see it and I'd go, oh, whatever. That's what some people do that. And so I still hold that view, obviously, to some degree. But it being my personal work feels a little bit more like someone stole it. So that kind of sucks. That kind of sucks. But what are you going to do? That actually made me think about what I was going to do next, how I would handle things. And, you know, obviously right now I'm working on the deallocation with Reflect Studios. I'm kind of plowing away at the environment side of stuff. I finished up some of it. I'm sending him a package today for him to load into the game and kind of work with. So there's going to be a little bit of downtime. And that made me think maybe I should do some work on the subject, not on the game itself, but more the branding of it. Because I was reading an article a while back where it was another indie developer. They were a team of like 5 people or something like that. But they had the same sort of discovery issue that I have had with the subject, where people just didn't know it existed. It wasn't even necessarily that people liked it or disliked it. It's that they really just didn't know about it. And so they took a look at everything that they had done, their trailers and everything, and they decided that their trailer really kind of didn't show it in the right light. You know, it didn't focus on the things that resonated with people after they had launched. So what they decided to do was make another trailer and sort of do a second pseudo launch, which normally it's for some reason the general consensus is you don't really do that. But they said, screw it, no one really knows our game anyway, so we'll try it. And they made a new trailer and a new press release to go with that trailer and kind of put that info out there again in a different way. And it got picked up by sites that did articles on them, new videos and Let's Plays and stuff like that, because people saw this stuff. And since the trailer resonated more with the things that people liked about the game and was a better showing of the game itself, more people got interested in it. And it actually, like, there were a lot of people that thought that it was the initial launch of the game because they hadn't They hadn't seen the game before, and they see all this information out, and they think it just launched. So it was interesting to read, which made me think about the subject and how it was perceived, and how the trailer, the light the trailer paints it in. So at this point in time, I don't think the subject is doing enough to really merit a large DLC or any sort of major support. I want to support the game, but right now the game is in a stable state, and so I think it would be kind of against my better interests to go and throw a bunch of effort into that, especially since I've adopted this new pipeline in Unity for HDRP on the deallocation. I would be going back and working in a different pipeline for the subject, and it just might not be worth it. It just hasn't seen the massive growth that I think it would need to justify some overhaul work. I've already done a lot to change quality of life in the game, and I think it's definitely better for it. But when you look at the trailer, I noticed that the trailer is cool, but it sort of paints it in more of an action-oriented light. It kind of changes the feeling of what your interaction with the monster is, and it sets up a lot of sort of preconceived notions about the game that are not necessarily wrong, but they're not the focal points. The game is much more about the immersion, the environment, the puzzles, and that experience. So I'm thinking that it's going to be worth it to maybe make a new trailer that outlines what the game is about much better. The experience in the environment, the puzzles, and deliver it in a tone that I think makes more sense for the game as a whole, and then maybe change a little bit of the wording, change in the write-ups, and change some of the screenshots that are associated with it, and that's it. I don't think, at least not right now, I can't really afford to go and do a bunch of work on the game. Nor do I think I really should. I think I should finish the allocation work and move on to another small project just to get something else out there, just to kind of see what resonates with people, and something that's a little different maybe from what I already made. I don't think I'd want to do horror, but I think I may still want like a creepy setting. I was thinking of doing an escape room. I was going to do a companion game to the subject that took place in the same complex but was an escape room with a bunch of puzzles. However, I think it may be better to make sort of like an adventure game. I've been watching a number of like these old school 90s games that like had these old games that had like video recordings of the characters, and you'd move them around, click on stuff, interact within the room and everything, and try, and it's kind of puzzle solving, but more circumstantial. It's more based on like, I'm finding this key, or I'm finding this passcode, or I'm finding this door, right? And it just felt kind of fun. So I was thinking it might be neat to do an escape room that has that sort of feel, as opposed to a bunch of puzzles that you have to move and slide and do things with. I really don't know yet. I haven't gotten to think about it too much, but I think it will be beneficial to do something small next and just shove something out that's a little different, and maybe and see where that resonates with people. And also it'll be another title under my belt. It'll just be better overall. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for the game development side of things itself, kind of based off of what I've experienced with the subject so far, and its sales and the perception of it. It's got all positive reviews except for one on Steam. So I think a presentation of what the game is, like a better presentation of it, I think may help drive the whole thing home, and then I can sort of leave it in that state where it's in a better state. It is shown correctly for what it is, and then I can move on to the next part, the next thing that I want to make. So that's kind of where I'm at for that. Now, what I've been doing amidst that, as well as I'm on Twitch. I like to stream my development. I think that's fun, but I like streaming in general. And excuse me, I'm drinking water, trying to combat the throat feeling and whatnot since I'm so gross. But I'm on Twitch doing development, but I also like playing games on Twitch. I like kind of that experience. I work from home. I work by myself, so Twitch is actually kind of, as sad as it is, it's my social outlet, right? And things like this where people can kind of engage in me and my work and my community in a different way. And hopefully this will get better and better as I go, and I can get some better quality equipment that isn't annoying to listen to and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm in this new area where I was originally just doing video game stuff. That was when I was under Grump and Tug, and then I started doing some art stuff. I was like painting in Photoshop and everything, and then Darkstone eventually spun up, and I switched over to Darkstone Digital on Twitch. But now I'm trying to sort of find this middle ground. I'm trying to get in this area where I still have the fun, playful side of things that I really like when I stream, and also the serious side of things that are my game development, my pushing for making some kind of company, that sort of thing. But I realized that there's, like, I had originally branded things to sort of match Darkstone across the board, and I realized in doing that, after a while of doing more streaming, I was like, the streaming side is really sort of me, as opposed to Darkstone, the company face, and the games themselves. So now I don't want to deviate from it completely. I still want to be Darkstone on Twitch, but I'm trying to find this middle ground where I can sort of inject the more playful side of things back into the experience and really kind of get my voice back out in it. And just, it's where I have fun while I'm working. So I don't want it to be too serious, and that's not who I am either. I'm silly. I'm a silly person, and I like doing silly stuff on stream and just, Easter eggs in games. And I've got game ideas that are in no way horror games. They're, silly games, or they're fantasy themed games. They're, just all very different stuff. And so I want to start to cultivate this environment that really tells people that Darkstone and games from Darkstone, myself, are not just about creepy horror stuff. I've got one game out under Darkstone, so I don't have this deep well of content for people to understand what I'm about. And so that obviously is an aspect that will just have to grow over time. There's not much I could do about that. But there are things that I can do in the meantime for streaming and for YouTube and stuff like that, where I can kind of show that there's more to all of it. And I kind of want to help people understand that there's a person behind all of this, and kind of have that experience, right? So we'll see. I did, for the first time ever, I took something that I am capable of doing and handed it off to someone else as a task. I was going to make new emotes and everything for my Twitch channel, but instead, Mason, one of my mods, Mason, you're the best, dude. He's going to make my emotes for me and stuff. So it was a little weird to be like, hey, take this thing and you go do that, even though I'm capable of doing it. But it's also awesome because now I don't have to fucking do it. Now I just get to wait. And then if I see something cool, then I get to just say yes or no. And that's actually pretty awesome. So I would love to, if the deallocation does well, if I can pump something else out, I would love to reach into the community more, into the Discord and just Twitter, Patreon, all the different people involved in the community, and maybe get them to make things for my games, like props or characters or different stuff like that, and pay those people to do it. I would love for my community kind of grow into, not just viewers and fans, but also people that have been here for the artistic side of things, the creation of stuff, and they want to do it too. Maybe I can give them a little bit of a window into doing that stuff for what little I can help. But I think that's really probably the most that I have going on right now. I've got all the work for the deallocation. I've really kind of started to settle down on the outer environment for it. So like I said, it's going to go off to Adam, and he's going to do his thing. So I'll probably have some downtime for like a week or two, maybe. And then I'll focus a little more on some community cultivation and nurturing and stuff like that, focusing on the other side of things, because I love all this stuff. That's one thing that leaving studio work and going into solo indie development has taught me, is that I don't just like game development. I like doing the social stuff. I like setting up pleasing pages and interactive things for people to be involved in the community. Like I enjoy all that stuff. That stuff's really fun. So I'm going to try and find a better balance of that stuff. It's a lot to do because there's the game development, there's the PR side of things for actually pushing your game, getting in touch with content creators, getting in touch with the press, and making trailers and graphics and stuff for those things. That's a shit ton of work all on its own. Just making Instagram and Twitter posts are a big time sink if you want to try and do it right and make enough to have content that people can engage with. So you do that, and on top of that, you got the streaming, and then you've got all of the things that entails to try and make that community fun. Excuse me. Trying real hard. I think I've only done it twice, so I'm working at it. But there's a lot that it entails. So I'll be kind of working on all of those things in the coming weeks. But it's really a lot of fun. I'm having one of the best times in my career, I think, doing this sort of work. Obviously the income is not guaranteed. It's very different from my experiences and payment for working at studios, obviously, because you got a weekly, every 2 weeks or monthly paycheck. This is not that. You get some things here and there, and then if your game does all right, you get a larger check at one point, and then you have to make that work for the year or half a year or whatever. So it's a different beast. There are a lot of things from my experiences that transfer over to making things in the indie sphere, but there's also a lot of aspects to it that are brand new and I think a lot of fun. So I want to try and nurture those things. I want to try and grow them and just make not just my games, but my community and the overall experience just fun for everybody. And hopefully we can continue doing that. So thank you everybody for listening. I think I'll probably try to keep these around 20 minutes. I'm really not sure. And again, if people listen for 10 minutes and tune out, or like some quality of something is bad, or these things don't, I kind of rambling in one area or another because the things aren't fully solidified, I apologize. I'd love to blame it on lack of sleep and sickness. Those things are there, but really this is new, and while I'm good at the live streaming stuff and talking to people and everything, having something a little more structured where I can jump from topic to topic is something that I would like to do for the podcast, I think, and I'm still trying to hone in on that too. So bear with me. Things will get smoother and smoother. Equipment will get better. The experiences will be better. So I love you and thank you so much for taking the time to listen, stopping by and being here, and just even having it run in the background while you're working or doing anything at all. Pooping, I don't know. You can listen to it while you're taking a shit. I'm totally cool with that. Just keep it playing, and come on back for the next one. So until next time, everybody, make sure to stop by the Twitch channel. I stream every Monday through Friday from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Central Time, and also check out the subject on Steam. You can find it pretty easily by just typing in the subject. Hopefully that'll pop up. And if you like what I'm doing and you want to support it, I'm broke and I got kids, so stop by the Patreon. and see what you get there. There's some fun stuff there, but it's also built in a way that makes it easier to maintain. It's sort of like the reward tiers are they're not intensive for me to upkeep. It's like credits in the game, credits on my streams, credits in videos and stuff like that. But the real bread and butter, the jelly and the donut is being involved when I do like giveaways, or I do Patreon only events, or I hand out like testing keys to test my games, stuff like that. Those go to the patrons first. So if you want to be in on that stuff, if you want to get the podcast first, if you want to see posts that are only there, that are sort of insights to my work and the things that I'm doing, then please stop by there, check it out. All the links are either, if you're listening on SoundCloud, they're off to the side. If you're here on YouTube and I've been ignoring the camera, my apologies. It's down below the video. So check those things out, and if you like them, I hope to see you at the stream. I hope to see you on Patreon. I hope to see you in the Discord, and just sort of involved in everything together. Thank you guys. I will see you next time.